What up YouTube, Quasi here, and for this video I wanted to talk about what makes the Ninja 300 such a good starter bike. Why is it so good for beginners and why is it so popular? Just the other day I was at Alamo Cycleplex, the dealership just down the street here, to pick up my bike, and of course the dealer or the salespeople come to you when you go in the door and like, hey, what bike do you ride, what are you looking for, all that stuff. When I told the guy that I had a Ninja 300, he's like, oh yeah, we can't keep those in stock. We're about to get 2 more today and they'll be gone before the end of the week, or before the end of the day. Those things fly off the shelves. So that made me think, what makes the Ninja 300 such a good beginner bike, such a good starter bike? First is the price. It's a pretty good price for a starter bike, about $5,500 in the US, brand new. Of course, give and take depending on the dealership and all that stuff. If you go used, you could get a good quality Ninja 300 for around $3K if you go a year or two older, and it'll be in perfectly fine condition. You might have to do like tires or whatever, but that's usual for used vehicles. So there's that right off the bat. That's a good price. But hey, some of the other starter bikes are in that same price range. So what else does the Ninja 300 offer? One, I would say it doesn't have too much power. It's going to be very difficult to get yourself into serious trouble on a bike like this because you can't go from 0 to 60 in 3 seconds. It's still faster than most cars on the road. I mean, you can get 0 to 60 in 6 seconds, but you're not going to be going 0 to 60 in 3 seconds, and if you slip your throttle hand too much, you go into a spasm or whatever, you're not going to run yourself into a wall. It's got manageable power, but at the same time, it's also not too weak. The 250s are right on the edge in terms of comfort and viability when it comes to highway riding, I would say, just in my experience of riding a 300. The 300 gives you just enough power to cruise comfortably on the highway. You can hit 70, 80, heck, you could hit 90 and cruise. It takes a little while to get to 90, but you can cruise on the highway no problems. I've gone on multi-hour trips at 70, 75 miles per hour, no issues whatsoever. The problem when it comes to highway is accelerating around people, but that's probably one of the Ninja 300's greatest weaknesses. The other thing that's so awesome about this bike, and now pretty much all starter bikes come with this now, is ABS, anti-lock brake system. I think I always get the acronym messed up. But for those of you who are new to riding, first, yes, you should always practice emergency braking. You should never look at ABS or any other technology as something to get rid of rider skill and practice. You always need to practice, you always need to learn the skills. But in an emergency situation, when you don't have time to consciously think, hey, I need to grab my brake, but not too hard so I don't lock my brakes, that's where ABS comes in to save you. If you have an oh shit moment and there's a car that swerves right in front of you and you just have to slam on the brakes, hopefully you'll practice, hopefully you'll be able to do emergency braking. But that doesn't always happen. That's what ABS is for. And statistics show, I could show you a billion papers, that ABS has a significant effect on the number of accidents and fatal accidents. Just look up ABS research paper on Google. I guarantee you'll find a billion links. So ABS, that's the other good thing. And then another good thing about the Ninja 300 is the slipper clutch and slip assist. This makes the clutch pull really light, which is great for commuting and stop and go traffic. You don't get fatigued very easily when you have to keep pushing or pulling the clutch in. It also helps prevent your wheel from locking up if you downshift wrong. If you don't do it exactly perfect and you screw up or whatever, the slip assist will give you some extra breathing room, or the slipper clutch will give you some extra breathing room. And then of course there's great gas mileage. If you ride it under 6,000 RPMs, which is what they recommend for the break-in period, you'll get 60, 70 miles per gallon, but that's very difficult to do. Outside of that, I still get 40 miles per gallon plus, and I'm redlining it everywhere practically. I'm always in low gear. What else? Maintenance is pretty easy on this bike. It's got a reasonable maintenance schedule. I think the first big thing is at like 7,000 miles, the valve adjustment, and a lot of people don't even do that because most bikes will be just fine. But other than that, tires, oil, brakes, the regular things everyone does. I've had no major issues with my bike other than the standard maintenance. And I think that's it. There's a lot of good stuff on this bike. So in summary, It's got ABS, great for emergency situations, great safety feature. It's got a slipper clutch and slip assist, makes shifting a little easier. It's inexpensive. It's got enough power to do okay on the highway, and it also doesn't have too much power when you're learning and trying to figure everything out. And overall, it's a solid bike. No big issues to worry about. Good price. It does what you need it to do. And it looks good, honestly. For a starter bike, I would say the Ninja 300 is one of the better looking starter bikes. Oh, here's something I left out, and that is the community around the Ninja 300. Because this bike is so popular, you'll find video guides and posts on everything you'd ever want to do for this bike. You want to add frame sliders, you want to change your oil, you want to add some kind of headlight mod or whatever, there's a post, there's a video for that. Some of the more rare bikes, you don't get that. It's a lot harder to find parts and guides and everything you need to do, but the Ninja 300, that's everywhere. That was very helpful to me when I wanted to put on my sliders, when I wanted to change my oil, when I thought about doing mods. The support that is there is perfect. So those are my thoughts. If you've got any feedback, I'd love to hear it. Leave a comment below, and I think I'll leave it there. So as always, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, let me know. Peace.